Hello, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. I am so sorry today. We are late. We also had a closing today, so we are jumping from one office to another. This is Ella Marie Jean Baptiste Ham. I'm coming to you today from the law office of David Ham, PA. So we are here with us the Q&A with the attorney Ham. So we're gonna ask the few questions that the people sent over to us, and please, if you're now coming up to our live, please tell us where you're listening to us at so we can adjust you. Thank you very much for listening. Today we have a few questions for Mr. Ham, and then we are coming to you guys from the law office of David Lee M. PA, attorney at law. So today we have some consumer questions, consumer law questions. So you can reach us guys at 904-307-3888. Again, the number is 904-307-3888. So we do have Mr. Ham with us. Mr. Ham, I would like to introduce yourself one more time so our listener can hear you.
Well, hello, Ella, and hello, everyone listening in and looking at the show here today. So I want to thank you all for viewing with us and being here to answer your questions. So do you want to get started with the questions?
Yes.
Oh,
Today is about, you're not going to see me because I want the camera to be on Mr. Ham. You will hear me, guys, in the background. So the first question, as you know, guys, we need you to send your question to info@hamlawfl.com so we can go ahead in live and ask your questions, and Mr. Ham will answer those questions for us. So I'm sorry about that. So I forgot my tripod. So I'm improvising today. So please give us a call. You can also call us at 904-307-3888 for your question. And then I put it in the list, and then we'll be glad to answer it. Today, the first question we have, that first question is coming from Maria. Maria is asking you a question, asking you, what is consumer law?
Well, that's a great question, Maria, and let me thank you for asking it. It's a term that is often overused. The term consumer law encompasses a broad variety of issues, problems, and things to be solved. Let me start by saying this. We're all consumers of goods and services of all kinds. So practically everyone is a consumer of products, goods, and services. And we have issues from time to time and disputes that arise. Now, I look at the consumer law as divided into two major categories. Now, the type that I deal with primarily are issues concerning financial products and financial services. What are the financial services and products I'm talking about? Well, when you buy or invest in or purchase a home, for example, most people do it not with cash. Most people end up buying with a loan that they get from a bank or financial institution, and they secure that loan with a mortgage. So what often ends up happening is along the way, there's an issue, there may be a dispute. Foreclosure is one of the areas that we would deal with that particular consumer question, that particular consumer concern. When you think about we talked about houses, let's also talk about cars. Sometimes there's a dispute, and if there's a debt that's not satisfied, then there may be an issue of repossession. And providing a defense in repossession is something that we work on. Other areas include debt collection. Debt collection is a major issue for our society, debt collection generally. So those financial services and products are what type of litigation I primarily help consumers with. Now, there are other consumer issues concerning other types of goods, services, and products. And that is also considered consumer law when you have issues regarding, say, the contract and so forth. So it's a broad area of law, lots of litigation. But when you think about the situation where you're facing some difficulty as a consumer, you need to think about whether a lawyer will be able to help you in that situation. And most of the times the answer is yes. So reach out to us. Again, our number here, we're available 24 hours, 7 days a week. The number works at 904 307 3888 or 904 307 3888.
Great. It seems like you answered most of the question people have. So the second question we have is coming again from Maria. She asking, what type of, do you do all of the consumer law that you just mentioned?
Okay, so let's take that in a little more detail. So we talked about debt collection actions, and debt collections are very big, very prevalent. Do not be intimidated by the fact that you receive a summons or service of process, telling you that your creditor is suing you, because that is the way that the majority of debt collectors win, is when people are intimidated and don't come in and participate in the process. 94, the statistic is somewhere around 94% of the debt lawsuits by debt collectors are default. They win by default. That means the person being sued, the debtor, simply chose not to respond, and that way they lose out on any defenses they may have had, any rights that they may have been able to assert, and also the ability to really negotiate concerning the debt. So there may be legitimate defenses available. So you need to speak to an attorney that can advise you about that. Other types, I also mentioned foreclosures. Yes, I did mention foreclosures, repossessions, things involving credit report, Fair Credit Reporting Act, and then Florida has its own equivalents of these as well. So also trade practices, for example. If a business is engaging in some type of unfair or deceptive trade practice, well, this is an area of consumer defense where a consumer defense attorney will be able to pursue your rights. And the great thing about so many of these consumer defense laws are that they provide for prevailing party attorney's fees. So if you win, then you may have your attorney's fees paid by the other side.
Okay. The next question we have coming from, I think it's Peter. Peter is asking, it is legal for the debt collector to call you late at night or early in the morning?
Well, Peter, if you're asking whether it's legal for them to call you late at night and early in the morning, the answer here in Florida is that no, they're protection. The consumers are protected against that type of harassment at unwelcome hours, at unwelcome times. So if you're going through that, if you're facing it, definitely give me a call. Call a consumer lawyer like myself to be able to. Now, one recommendation that I will make for you is that you document the calls. You definitely need to make documentation of when they occur, who's calling, and anything else that you can effectively document. Then come talk to us, and we will help in that harassment, and you may be able to also collect some penalties on that.
And I know in real estate, they give you a time. They said they cannot call you between, I think it's 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And then you can get some very healthy money from them per call. I think it can be up to 25 or some numbers. So, okay. So, again, I'm not the lawyer. I'm letting Mr. Him answer the question. The next question I have, can my car be repossessed without warning?
Well, that depends on what you mean by without warning, because
that is from Lewis. Sorry.
Okay, so Lewis, it really depends on what you mean by without warning, because the statute regarding repossession does require that the creditor provide you notice, and there are timeframes for that notice, prior to just going out and acting to seek what they call self-help and repossessing a vehicle. The repossession statute is a strict liability statute, meaning that the creditor or even the repossessor, they're required to strictly follow it. If they don't, then the consequences can be severe. So I would certainly recommend, if you're facing potential repossession, that you contact me, so that we can discuss it further. Also, if you've already gone through that process and had the vehicle repossessed, and now you're facing what they call a deficiency, a possible deficiency decree being entered against you, then you need to speak to a lawyer to protect your interests, because often there are rights that you have available, there are defenses that you can assert, and you may be well surprised at what you can do to protect your interests.
Okay, we got another question. That question is coming from David. He's asking, can a credit card company garnish my wages?
Well, the thing is that in order to be able to garnish your wages, the creditor is going to have to obtain an order from the court. Now, without the order from the court, they can't just go in and start taking money from you. It's very important that you participate in that process, and that you want to do everything possible before you get to that stage. Number one, you don't want a judgment against you. You don't want the default. So if you're facing an issue of this sort, of being sued by a creditor, or sued by a debt collector, you must address it. You must face the problem. Don't wait until it's too late, because there is a point where it will become essentially too late if that order is entered against you. So contact me.
Okay, next question we have is coming up from Linda. Linda is asking, what is a wrongful foreclosure?
Great question, Linda. So it's pretty much what it sounds like. It was a foreclosure that was carried out when there was not a legal right to do so. Now, in Florida, we don't have a recognized cause of action called wrongful foreclosure, although that exists in some other states. However, we do have other causes of action to rectify that situation. And so if that's something you're facing, give me a call and let's discuss that. There are ways to address it if that has happened, but time is of the essence. Be sure to do it timely.
What is a deficiency judgment? That is coming from Louise. Yes, Louise.
Louis or Louise?
Louisa.
Louise. Okay,
Yeah.
so I did mention deficiency earlier. So, say for example, when the creditor obtains the property that's securing the loan, in the case of a home, of a house, that would be a foreclosure proceeding. After the foreclosure has happened and they secure that property and put it for sale in a judicial sale, the person who buys it is going to probably buy it for less than the market value. They're going to not pay the full value there, and it may not be the amount that you owe. It may be less than the amount you owe. So if that happens, that's what is called a deficiency. So the amount of money received on the property, whether it be the house, whether it be a car, in the case of repossession, is less, then they have a right to go back to court. This is important, that you have to go back to court and seek a deficiency. It's not automatic, and there's the time frames in which to do it. The creditor can go back and seek a deficiency and go after the debtor personally for the remaining amount. So it's very important that at that stage that you have representation, because you don't want to be facing a deficiency, and you also need to make sure that the processes are followed. Again, there are rights that you have, there are defenses that may be made, deficiencies, are not an automatic. It's not an automatic stamp. So you need to speak to an attorney to help defend your rights there.
So the last question we have is just a regular question people have been asking. Is a common question. They're asking, are you in Florida? How can we contact you?
Well, yes, the law offices of David Lee Ham Jr., PA, HamLaw, are Florida law offices. We represent people throughout the state of Florida. We're situated in Jacksonville, Florida, so that includes Duval County. We also operate in Clay County, Nassau County, and the surrounding counties. And we're very happy to help people with their consumer issues. And if you don't happen to be any of those counties I just mentioned, still seek us out. We can set up and use technology to communicate. And then, depending upon the case, I may come to see you.
Okay, so the phone number, guys, again, our phone number. Thank you very much, Mr. Ham, Attorney Ham, for answering all of the questions. Again, guys, if you got any additional question, like I said, every Thursday we do have question coming, guys. Any question you may have, any questions you may have, just give us a call. I'm sorry, any question you may have, give us a call, or you can send us an email at info@hamlawfl.com. Like I said, our phone number is 904-307-3888. We are 24-hour services. Anytime you call in the middle of the night, whenever somebody would answer the phone and talk to you, so we can see what we can do to help you. Again, guys, give us a call. And our website is about to be up starting next week. We're going to have our website live. If you don't feel like talking to somebody, you can go straight to the website and ask your question, and then we'll be able to answer it to you right then and there. Again, guys, thank you very much for listening. Our phone number, like I mentioned earlier, it's 904-308-3888. We appreciate all of the time, and thank you. Have a wonderful day. Until next time, have a blessed day. Goodbye.